Let me start the timer. Hi, I'm Dr. Alex Loyd, and this is my son, Harry Loyd. Say hi, Harry.
Hi, I'm Harry Loyd.
And welcome to the first ever Path to Paradise podcast. Say that 5 times fast. We may use initials later. But anyway, we're so excited about this. This has really been in the works by us for over 4 years and intensely for the last 8 months.
Mhm.
And this is the direction that our company, Dr. Alex Loyd Services, some people call us the Healing Codes, is pivoting to. For years, we've been about the healing codes and Trilogy and the love code and belief mapping and all those things. And we're not getting rid of those, but we're pivoting. And now everything is going to be more toward um, our new program that we call the Practice of Paradise, and this podcast that is the Path to Paradise podcast. We're going to be doing this podcast several times a month. It may eventually be every week. I think we're going to start like the second, third, and fourth weeks of every month, probably on Wednesday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They will be recorded so you can access them anytime at your convenience. And we're going to be talking about what we believe is the most important thing in your life and getting you from where you are, you might think of point A, to where you want to get your best life that you might call point B or point Z, depending on how you're looking at it. Um, and I'm more excited about this than anything I've ever done. This is, they use that phrase, your life's work. And I've never really liked that phrase, but I do like it for this because I know that this is my life's work. This is the most important thing I've ever done and probably am likely to do. We're going to be, these podcasts will be, we'll do a little bit of teaching. We'll give you tips on your health. We'll give you tips on our past programs, the Healing Codes Trilogy, things like that. We'll be focusing a lot on the Practice of Paradise, the new mentorship program that we're starting. And we'll have question and answer, discussion. We'll have guest speakers, you name it. So we're really excited, and this is the very first one. And we wanted in this one to kind of tell you who we are, what this is, who we think it might be for, who's it a good fit for. All right. So, Harry, can you bring up the PowerPoint, the,
Sure.
the slides? We've got 2 slides, only 2 slides, and we'll go through them quickly. And this is kind of what this is and who we believe it's for. And Harry, you came up with the name. Share with them why paradise, why the practice of paradise, the path to paradise, why paradise?
Yeah. Well, as we were going through it and talking about the material, it was clear that it was very focused on what Scripture calls the spiritual heart. Um, and, that's something that we've talked a lot about, of course, in I think all of our previous programs. But even more so in this one, and it's more so in tune with spiritual and scriptural influences. Um, And the reason that I chose paradise as being sort of a really good symbol of that is partially because it's, the sort of thing that we're trying to help you create is a paradise. And partly because the etymology of paradise comes to us through a very long etymological line. But one of the things that it originally meant was an orchard or a walled garden, which was powerful to me because that sounds very much like how Scripture describes the heart being ideally. It's something that has to be carefully protected and something that it produces good things.
Right, right. And so that's where the name came from. And if you wondered where that beautiful backdrop behind us, at least we think it's beautiful. You may think it's terrible, But that's where that came from, is a kind of our picture um, of a walled garden, path to a walled garden, path to paradise, healing your heart, and then living from the heart after your heart's been healed, which I believe leads to health, great relationships, happiness, everything that you want. And I think one of the things that's unique about this is that my training, and I'll kind of show you who we are on the next slide, but my training is mainly in psychology and naturopathic medicine, and that's the world I've been in for the last 30 years. Before that, I did my undergraduate degree was in ministry, and I did 10 years in full-time ministry before going back to graduate school. So that's kind of my background. And naturopathic medicine really includes virtually everything on your screen. Google it after this, and I think you'll see. But um, the idea of this and that walled garden and healing your heart and living from your heart for your best everything, health, relationships, whatever. We're bringing in all of the relevant sciences, which is almost all of them. So we'll be discussing um, biology, psychology, physics, philosophy, the social sciences, all of nature, which a double blind study is basically to observe nature and see what works and what doesn't. Medicine, plus scripture, plus the Bible. I'm a follower of Jesus, so is Harry. But what I want you to know, and this is not just, I'm not just saying it, we talk about it all through the practice of paradise, is it's for everybody. So if you don't believe in God, if you are an atheist, an agnostic, if you call yourself New Age, if you are Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, whatever, this will work for you. And we will tell you how to do it to work for you, regardless of what you believe. I do believe there's a level you can't get to without being in right relationship with God, but you can get great benefit, healing of health issues, all kinds of stuff, regardless of what you believe, and we will teach you how to do that. In the Practice of Paradise mentorship program, there are four brand new interventions that have nothing to do with what I've done for the last 30 years. They're not codes, they're not energy, they're not natural health. Totally new, totally different. And I believe the most effective thing I've come up with, and I have come up with some things that the world believes are effective. There have been 32 double-blind studies done on my interventions. That's the Healing Codes Trilogy, etc. All 32 at independent universities found it works on 112 different life issues from cancer to anxiety and about everything in between. I believe these new interventions work just as well, if not better. Okay. And the wonderful thing about this to me, and that Harry and I realized when we really started digging into it, is that all of these sciences and scripture harmonize beautifully when you put them together and kind of connect the dots. And I'd never really seen that before. And I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I couldn't find it. And I believe it gives kind of a new angle, a new light on health and relationships and spirituality by bringing in all of these different sciences and wonderful studies that have been done, the latest things we know from technology, from AI, all of that, all harmonized together to give you a path to your best life. Harry, why don't you pull up the next slide just real quickly? And no, yeah, and so there's 6 sections in the Practice of Paradise, and we'll be going through these also on the Path to Paradise, along with the Healing Codes Trilogy. Really, whatever you want to talk about as far as health, spirituality, and psychology. But these are the 6. Harry, you want to go read those over real quick?
Yeah. So first steps from Eden is basically establishing our basic principles. If you've been with us for a while, some of that'll be familiar, but it's going to be more integrated with scripture than it has been in the past, and there's some really interesting connections to make there. Surveying the land basically goes into what are the problems that we're facing. There's a running metaphor throughout this whole thing of the parable of the sower, which also feeds into the garden metaphor, as like paradise is something that we have to cultivate and grow. So surveying the land is sort of about, okay, what are we working with right now, and why is it in the state that it's in? Spiritual ecology leans into that more in terms of getting into um, plotting a course to change things for the better and getting really into the nitty gritty of how these concepts play off of each other and work together or don't work. Cultivating paradise is where we actually start to put that into practice, deal with some of the difficulties that arise from that, and basically go more from theory into application. The new way and the old was one of your names, not mine, but I know that's where we're planning to talk about the interventions. So that's going to be pretty much all practical. And then the walled garden renewed is basically our conclusion where we sum everything up and look at how to continue practicing it going forward.
All right, you can take that down now, Harry. Thank you. If you care who we are, some of you may, some of you probably will, some of you probably won't. Feel free to Google us. I have a doctorate, earned doctorate in psychology, PhD, an ND doctorate in naturopathic medicine. I'm a New York Times best-selling author. I'm told by my publishers that I built um, the largest word of mouth emotional healing program in the world. Clients in 50 states, 184 countries, and some other stuff like that. Harry is my 32-year-old son, and you may be wondering, well, why is he here? He doesn't have a doctorate in psychology or whatever. Um, he probably has the most brilliant, logical mind I've ever come across. And at 4 years old, we were having deep philosophical, spiritual, psychology, all of that discussions, literally when he was 4 years old, and ever since. I mean, usually some every single week, sometimes every day. And I could not have done this without him. That he has a partial photographic memory. That mind of his just can bore down and to the bare essence of anything quickly. So plus he's my son and I love him and we love doing this together. So that's kind of it from my view. I'll let you share yours in a second, Harry. What the Path to Paradise podcast is going to be. We would love for you to come. We want to start a community where we love and support each other, have discussion, have group discussions, individual discussions, share it with other people, invite other people. We will always treat you with love and respect. I promise you that. And we will speak the truth in love. We're not going to hype you. We're not going to, everything's not a sales pitch. We will have some things to sell from time to time. We have to eat too. And we think we've got some fabulous things for you that have developed over a long period of time. So that's what we're doing. And everyone is welcome. Harry, anything else you want to add?
Yeah. First of all, I don't make any special claims for myself of to genius or anything like that. But I'm thrilled that I get to be here and to take part in it for whatever reason. And I do think that you and I have sort of an easy chemistry that we've developed over the years, And I think that part of my usefulness is that being your son and being used to having these conversations with you, I'm probably more willing to disagree with you than most of the people you employ,
Yeah.
which can be interesting for the people watching.
Yeah. And one thing Harry and I have talked about is we do not want this to be sanitized. This
Mhm.
is not going to be scripted. And I've told Harry, if you disagree with something, don't wait till after the podcast. Bring it up. If it turns into an argument, let's argue, but we will argue with love and respect and with you as well if you want to argue a bit. Um,
Mhm. And
that's
I also like to push back on things sometimes, even without necessarily not necessarily because I disagree, but because I'm curious and I want to argue about it just to see where it goes.
a challenge, challenging. Yeah. Yeah, I like that too.
Um, Something I wanted to talk a little more about. You called it a mentorship,
Yeah.
which isn't something.
Well, not the podcast, but
Yeah,
the Practice of Paradise
yeah,
program,
yeah, the
the
program,
mentorship. Yeah.
which isn't something that we've called them in the past. You said
Right.
you said something a while back to me while we were talking about it that I found striking, which was that for as long as you've been doing this type of thing, one of your big things has been addressing sources, not symptoms.
Right.
But when you were coming to this, you felt like you'd realized that to a degree, you'd still been treating symptoms, and that I think part of what you meant by that was like it's very common that people will come to you for help and they'll be helped. You know, they'll have good results, and then you won't hear from them for a while. And then they'll get back to you and tell you they're having some problem, and you'll ask them, "Well, have you been doing the codes?" And they'd say, "Well, no." Um, there's a degree to which people, myself included, will tend to treat like healthy, balanced living or like these types of things as a way to get back to living how they want to live, even if that's what caused the problem in the first place.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. The definition of insanity.
yeah. So I think a big part of what we're trying to do here is trying to create something like reproducible steps that can give people conviction toward living how they really want to live or how they know they should live.
Right. Right. And if you want to know where the sort of idea and impetus for this whole thing came from, it started about 4 to 5 years ago with me when I realized that there was a level of life and happiness and joy and peace and love that I had not gotten to, that I believed was there and available, but that I had never gotten to before. And so I started doing something I'd never done before. I started praying on average 2 to 3, up to 5 or 6 hours every single day. And for the whole rest of my life before that, that didn't make sense. The rest of my life before that, for my life previous to that, um, if I prayed 30 minutes in a day, it was a lot. And if I had ever thought about praying 5 hours a day, I would have thought there's no way I can do that. I'll be bored after 20 minutes, and that was my experience. But what happened was really transformative to me over doing that over the last about 4 years. And over those 4 years, I ended up taking 700 pages in handwritten notes of things that came to me during those prayer times. And that's kind of what became a lot, not all, but a good bit of the practice of paradise.
Mhm.
And people who have seen that as we've been producing it behind the scenes for the last 8 months, they've shared with us, man, so much of this I've never heard or seen anywhere before. And we're going to be sharing a lot of those nuggets of health and spirituality and how we work with you that I've not ever seen anywhere else. Maybe you have. Tell us if you have. But I think a lot of it is new and a little bit different angle than maybe you've heard about these things before.
Yeah,
And
and there are a lot of those pages that we're using in the practice of paradise too, uh,
yeah,
but not nearly all of them because there was just too much. And I know you said you wanted to hit some of the ones that we didn't do in the practice of paradise here.
yeah, and some of the ones we do as well.
Mhm.
That's not right either. Sorry about that. But yeah, so we're going to be sharing all of that. We believe this will be ongoing. This is the new path for really everything that I'm doing. Um, so welcome. And oh, I did want to do a post-it note on what Harry said about feeling like after all these years, maybe I hadn't been completely getting to the source with a lot of my clients. And I'll tell you exactly what that was. I wasn't bringing in scripture. I was bringing in spirituality, but I didn't want to offend the people that were coming who did not believe in the Bible or the New Testament or God or Jesus, because if they're offended and leave, I can't help them with their health, which is primarily what I've done for the last 30 years. Well, now I want to go all the way. I want to bring in scripture, spirituality, and the true source of any problem that you can have. And I believe people are going to get better results than they've ever gotten. And even though we've had wonderful results for uh, 2 to 3 decades now. So that's it for me. Can't wait. This is the first one. Next one, everybody's invited. Tell your friends. Come and see if you like it. If you don't, you wasted a few minutes maybe, but I believe there'll be something of interest and something for you to think on during the week that maybe you've not heard of before. That is a way that maybe to take your life up a level or two higher. So, anything else you want to add, Harry?
No, I think I've said my piece.
Okay. So we love you guys. Thank you very much. We hope to see you at the next Path to Paradise podcast. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Thanks, Harry.
All right, thanks.
Goodbye.